Okay, I wouldn't say that I'm the best at technology, but I can take instruction. Okay, so I'm so happy to be here with all of you all, and thank you, Beth and Stephanie and Shelby and Christian. I mean, such wonderful stories, and I so enjoyed it. I always do. The stories just are wonderful, and it's what makes us who we are. But you can tell by Beth's enthusiasm, you hear that energy in her voice, and you see that repeated in her organization and the excitement there. And some of the things I just loved hearing, when Christian said he's there if if you care about people, the money follows you home. That's been a philosophy I've held my entire career, that it really is about the people. It's about the heart. And I love the whole idea too that was mentioned tonight and Beth said it, you get to be part of other people's success, even the happy things that have happened in their life, a baby coming, something that is transformational is that, but also, all of the successes, the small successes, the large successes. I think this is a beautiful part of our community and who we are and what we do. So if you're joining us for the first time, my name's Cheryl Cortese. I'm a National Marketing Director with the Juice Plus Company, and now for over 33 years. Okay, so still shocked that I would love it as much as I do. My background was education. I taught at one of the universities in South Louisiana, which is where I'm from. But in a time of high economic stress for me, I was looking for something in addition to what I was doing. Teachers don't make a lot, especially in Louisiana. And I was suddenly single and two young children. Today, 33 years later, of course, I've got two grown adults. Then there's a grandchild. And so I don't live in Louisiana anymore. I live in California because everybody's out here. And the beauty of this is you can work wherever you choose. And Christian mentioned, this would be a pension or what, I didn't start this thinking that I was going to create a huge business. I was just trying to make ends meet, but it turned out to be that thing that secured future and gave us choice. And I think that's the beauty of what we have to offer is we have security for so many reasons, so many avenues. Here's Stephanie, she's starting out, her life, and there's a new baby now going to be coming, which is very exciting. But, at any point in life, to have that freedom of choice, to have that security, and this we do bring to people, not only that support for health, which is so important, and we know the world is more alert to that today than they've ever been. That's worldwide, and we're in 26 countries now and continuing to grow. So, but also that need for additional supplemental income is larger today than it's ever been before. So we really are, a true answer. We're a true solution. I feel like the situation we're in as a world certainly puts us in a position where this is a calling in itself, not just a profession, not just a business, but something that really is inviting us to be part not only of other people's success, but of their solutions as well. Tonight, a few things I wanted to share with you. And we do this from a training standpoint as well as a presentation standpoint every Thursday night. Thanking Carol Turnbow and Josh Duhan, they, kind of put it together. I think it's been 2 or 3 years ago now, but it's really grown here in this last year because we all get together now virtually, and we're getting fairly comfortable with that. And so, it's a wonderful tool for us to be able to use. But I wanted this to be able to be, because we're not hundreds or, thousands on the line, which is possible. Monday night, we see hundreds of people show up for our Monday night call. So there would be no way for interaction. But this call does allow that. And so tonight there were 2 or 3 things I wanted to share, but I also wanted us to have some interactive discussion on the things that you might have questions about, things that you would like to hear from a training standpoint. What are the things you feel like you would like to know more about from a business standpoint for you? Because that is the goal, is to help you grow quickly and with whatever's needed, whatever we need to put in that toolbox for you to really access the potential of what's here at the highest level. Because I assume that you are here and you're here with us tonight because you want to access the highest potential for your business. Now, one little announcement that you probably will hear about soon, or we'll hear about certainly at our next conference. Our virtual conference will be in April. Is as our company is expanding, and it is, we are really looking at more global growth. They're really looking at bringing on talent to help facilitate that. And there's a woman who has now started as CEO, the global CEO for our company. Her first name's Stuart, and it's a German name, is the last name, and it's Kronagi. So you'll hear more about her. I had the good fortune of having a conversation with her yesterday as she was introduced to some of us. And she comes to us from just a very strong background with the Coca-Cola Company in their marketing and brand development, as well as Beyond Meat, which is a company that really just kind of exploded on the West Coast. And she really took that company to its heights in about 18 months. So you'll see things that are going to bring us innovation, but yet with the simplicity of what we already have, which is a very simple but powerful product and a simple but also powerful compensation plan. So I have to say I'm excited about that as I watch the growth. We expect our company to, as a whole, actually double by 2025. So we're 2021. We're looking at 4 years of duplicating what has taken 50 years to create. So you'll be a part of that. And I think that's why it's so important that any questions that you might have as far as really utilizing and developing your business at whatever speed you choose to, that we facilitate those questions and make sure that we're up to speed in every direction. If you think about it, we're really very simple business from the standpoint of we're storytellers. We tell a story about a product. You heard it all tonight. We give you a little company history. We talk about what our product is, which is very simple. Everybody understands fruits, vegetables, berries, and omegas. And then we talk about our compensation plan and the simplicity of it. So tonight I wanted to hit the highlights of the simplicity of our marketing model. A lot of streamlining has been done. There was a whole movement last year in the company to take the compensation plan from points, as you know, to full 100% dollar, because it's easier to tell and talk about than being paid a percentage on a point system, but also to create simplicity as people move up through promotions. So hopefully you've gotten all that information on a lot of things that are much more simple as of the last 2 weeks. But if there are any questions on that, I'd like to answer them tonight. I'd also like to go over just the basics of how you qualify for your 3% bonus, which is the basically going to be the bulk of your income as time goes on. And then talk about really just the function of what your business needs to look like as you grow up through it. And really, if you were to think about it, and I've thought about my business this way all these years, is that first of all, and you heard it from Shelby, she's going to go tell everybody. And that's the thing, you want to just make friends. She said it, I just go out there and make friends and have conversations. And that's really our job description, is to make friends and have conversations. And as you do that, and as an organization, we certainly pride ourselves in team development. We're inviting people not only to, have our Juice Plus product as an option, but also have our Juice Plus business as an option. So if I look at my business from the very beginning, 33 years ago, and today, as I said, I did not plan for this to be some big, huge business. I was just trying to survive. Today, as an organization, and you're part of that, we do over $10 million worth of Juice Plus sales every month. So from the very beginning here, if you will really look at the fact that you can step into as big a picture as you choose. The other thing that I heard tonight, and I think it was Beth referring to Shelby and to the others, is as soon as you made that decision that yes, this was something that was going to do for you whatever you needed to do for you. That's what I've watched all these years, is when someone makes a decision, and they might be in our business for a while, but then they make the decision, I'm going to do this and access it at the highest level. That's usually when it happens. So if I look at my business back when, okay, it started in the in archaic times 33 years ago. I looked at people, and I still do, as if they were just a line. Everybody was a line stretched straight to the moon, and everybody I came across, I'm going through that line. I'm working to create exposure through creating friendships. And so I'm going through the line. Are you interested? No, move out of the way. You interested? No, move out of the way. When someone's interested, that's where I stop to share the story. Not everybody's going to be ready to hear, but the ones that are ready to hear, you want to invest your time and your emotion there. And so it's really basically just numbers. And then I'll look at our business also this way, is that I've got about 3 pools that I want to keep full all the time. There's that customer pool, people who are on our product. They love the idea of being on the product, and that's what they want to be at this point, as a customer. I want that customer pool as full as possible so I can go fishing for the people who are going to be on my team. Now, I like to tell about both product and team at the same time. So when a person is interested in the product, and I might enter through that product door first, I'm going to make sure that that they know there's an option from a business standpoint as well. Many times I'll enter through the business door talking about my business and what it has to offer when I'm in conversation. And we can certainly, if we put that on our list for trainings in the upcoming weeks, that conversation, what do those conversations look like? How do they start? What are the one-liners that starts that conversation? So I want a pool of people too who are excited about being part of our business. Now, it might be that they decide to become what we would call partner customers. They are not ready to start a business, but they want the discount. I like people in that pool, because there's going to come a point where they'll be in love with the product. They will have shared it with a few people. There'll be a check coming, and they decide this might be something that could really make a difference for the future. And then I've got also in that pool of new team members, those people who really want to take on this business as a serious business. And so we're looking at, how are we going to access that right away? How are we going to take advantage of what's available here? What is the activity going to look like, and what has to happen? And that's a training in itself. And so then the people who grow to sales coordinator, they have taken this on as something that they seriously want to do. Those are the people that I'm now create that pool with as many people as possible, so I can go fishing for leadership, the people who are going to grow to national marketing director. So you've really got basically 3 pools that you want to keep full all the time: the customer pool, the new team pool, and the people who are growing up because they want to take advantage of our business. So maybe we'll start tonight, and let's just find out some of the things that you would like to discuss, talk about as we go forward with this, and create a series of trainings together, because you're the one I want to service, okay, as far as this is concerned. What questions might you have, and what things would you like discussed from a business standpoint? And we can go in every direction. It can be conversations, it can be what the compensation looks like, how do you qualify for the various positions, and also how do you qualify for all money so that you don't leave any money on the table. So give me questions and give me ideas of what you would like happen for these upcoming trainings, since you are the people we want to make the difference for. So you'll have to unmute yourself to do that. And so who would like to start? Anybody have any questions that you want to ask of me? Because sometimes that's something that people I get a better feel for what you'd like to hear about.
Yeah, this is Sue Devine from Virginia Beach.
Hi,
I'm,
Sue.
hi. I'm curious to hear more about people who become customers to get the best price and not grow their team right away.
Okay. And we can certainly do that. That's what I call the customer partner or the customer distributor. We used to refer to those folks who started that way as the family plan. And we can go in depth in this and talk about it as time goes on. But that has really been a real strength that sometimes is, it's like something kind of silent that's happening that no one's really training on. But we have many a national marketing director today that started in just that fashion. They started on the product, but they wanted the discount because they wanted as many people in the family on it as possible. And then as they started to get a little check, okay, then it became like $400 or $500 because now their mom or their neighbor or someone else is on the product. And then the idea dawns on them that this might be a serious way to make money. But we can talk about that in depth. Let's just get a few more. And if we have time tonight, we'll answer some of these as well. If not, we'll create an agenda for the next few weeks to come. Thank you, Sue. Who else what would you like to hear about, to know about? What would make your business you feel like move faster if you have that information?
Hey, Cheryl, Alex from Los
Hi,
Angeles.
Alex.
I'm curious about some of the nuggets that you might have collected over the years from some of the previous Juice Plus conferences that, you might be able to create like a best big hitter hit list of, one item liners that you could pass on to us for people getting their business started.
Okay, so Alex, maybe we're thinking about things like approaches, closes. What do you say to close? And really, if you think about it, there's no such thing here as a hard close. We don't want to force anybody into anything. We want them to want it. But there usually is a line of conversation that happens when you're talking about the product or when you're talking about the business. And it also might be how to initiate conversations that take you in a direction. Is that the type of thing you're talking about?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So, and I have, collected this over the years in many different ways. From one of the things that I did in early part in my own career is I tried to just immerse myself in every event that came up that I could hear people who had been in our business for a while. If I could hear national marketing directors talk or people who had just reached a position that maybe I was trying to reach myself. One of the things I learned from my sponsor, Jeff Roberti, is, once you do it, then you not only know how to do it, you can model it, but you can teach it to somebody else. So you kind of, in everything, you earn it to learn it, okay? But I watched everybody very carefully and I listened for things like what were the one-liners that they were using to, initiate conversation, to invite people to, try the product or take on their business. What were the transition statements that took people from talking about the product to start talking about the business? Because, it's just, if you have a few of those things in your toolbox, then there's confidence that comes along with that too. But like you, I didn't want to reinvent the wheel. I wanted to know why the wheel was rolling. Is that what we're talking about?
Exactly.
Okay, real good. So I'll look at those things which are, how to initiate conversation, how to, what the closes are like, how can you, what would be the one-liners that would go along with all that because really what you want to do is you want to say just enough so that someone's going to ask you either what you do or tell me about your product or tell me about your business or whatever, because once someone asks you, you're not in a cold market anymore. You now have established a warm market conversation. And so those things never go out of date. It never gets old. The things that I was using in the very beginning, I'm still using today, 33 years later. It doesn't change, in other words. So those, those one-liners would be, I think, very important for us to discuss. So that would be a topic in itself. Anybody else, topics that you would like to hear, things you want to talk about? And if you had one topic, you could throw another one out here too. You don't have to stop with one, but give me some more input on this. Is there anything in the marketing as far as the compensation plan that you would have questions on? Do we want to do something like that where you make a list or tell me what those questions might be on the compensation plan? Because two very important things, our business is really, you've heard me say over and over, we're in the business of being storytellers. So the story about your own product story, your own business story is very important. And people are usually really comfortable with their product story. It's one that's easy to be emotional about, and people listen to your feelings much more so than they do facts. Feelings come first, facts follow. So, many times people are comfortable reaching out for sharing with people the product story, but they're not as comfortable sharing the business story. So that may be something we'll want to spend some time on, is product story and business story. Who else? Anyone else on things that you would like to know or feel like you had more expertise in?
Get to go over the qualification from a PB POB standpoint. Step one, you PB. Step two, you POB. Why it's important to do that. What it consists of. What is the difference in terms of accumulation totals, where it comes from PB to POB.
And this is huge because as you grow up in your business, your first real goal is sales coordinator. Because we all do the same thing. I'm doing the same thing I did from the very beginning. I just have more and more people over time that you do it with. So, once you become a QSC on your way to sales coordinator, you now are in position to qualify for that 3% money, which is really going to be from your team development. So being real clear on those qualifications and what you need to be doing, what kind of production needs to happen, where that production comes from. And, I have to say, I know many of you have heard me say this before. When I saw the compensation plan the first time, I felt like they wanted me to speak Chinese. It was very different from the way I understood you created income. But once you understand it, it's exhilarating, because you realize there's no limit to the income potential. And once you can tell that simply, and we can tell it simply today, because our plan is one that does lay out simply. It doesn't look like that if you've never seen this type of, way to earn money. But once you really understand it, it's very exciting. You realize that it can become whatever you need for it to become. So we'll talk about PB and POB. And what I'll do is we'll start putting out, when we put out the flyer, we'll put out the training that'll go along with that evening, so that you'll have a good idea of what you're coming to the call to learn. And then hopefully we'll get everything that everybody needs and get it in a succinct order. Who else might have a question or like to tell me?
I have one, Cheryl.
Okay, Karina, hi.
Hi, Karina from Anaheim. I'm in my car, so bear with me. But I wanted a ironclad explanation as to the cancellation per them receiving 4 months product up front. Maybe there's a way that you can help me explain that there's no obligation, but how that process would look if they were to return it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess how it.
Okay, so, and this is something, Karina, and it's an important question. We want people to feel very comfortable in that when they do buy the product, if for some reason, now we rarely see it, I can tell you that, but we rarely see it. as far as returns are concerned, but the product is something that can be certainly returned as long as it's unopened. So let's say you have a 4-month supply, you have opened the first, set, and you decide that you just are not, you're just not really wanting to continue. And like I said, I can't even think of who that's happened to in a long, long time. But definitely they will return the monies for the unopened product. Now, if the person's really irate and they feel like they want it all, our company's not going to fight over, a 2-month supply or whatever has been open. They're going to do it. But, again, there is the guarantee of you can definitely return the product. So I'll definitely put this on also, and we'll have a call where we'll do, we'll do things like that. How do you take care of some of the logistics of things that might be a little, things that come up in your business that might not be right up there in the forefront all the time.
Thank you, Cheryl.
And Karina, congratulations too. I know you just became a QSC with a bonus, and it
Yes,
looks like
thank
you're
you.
right there knocking at the door of sales coordinator already. And so
Yes.
we congratulate you and encourage you. Okay. And
Thank you
that's
so
the
much,
other
Cheryl.
thing. And I would like for us to do that on this call too, is that as people do grow into positions, especially the QSC and sales coordinator, that you kind of do a little quick report on how that happened for you, because that is also very empowering to other people as well. Anybody else on what you would like to hear? Let's try to make sure that everybody gets what they need. So right now we've got, how to approach, how to close, just those one-liners that are in your toolbox for you to weave into conversation, product story, business story, talking about your compensation plan, and really getting clear on how you qualify to make sure you never leave any money on the table. We hear that from time to time, and you don't want to leave any money behind. And sometimes it's something very simple that has either been misunderstood or missed, because we have a company that really does put the partner first and make sure they want everybody to be paid at the highest level, and we all do. So anyone else who might have questions that we would be able to address and give you information on? Anybody? Anyone? Any questions tonight? We're almost exactly here on time, okay, with 30 minutes. But I wanted to make sure we had everybody really clear. Okay, anybody? Well, I guess with that, we're exactly 6:30, which is the time that we usually do this for 30 minutes. So if we look at next week, I'll put this together, and we'll send out a list of what we'll cover, and then really be succinct in doing that at each one of these calls that we do. You really want to also, I'm going to encourage you, for me, my business was one that it had to work. I was in a situation that was just financially terrifying. And I drove them crazy at the home office when I had questions. I called until I got the answer. I made friends. It's a good idea to really get kind of a buddy that when you call up, you get the same person. If it's customer support, if it's distributor support, whatever it is, try to get a connection going with one person. And then I looked to upline, of course. I also drove my sponsor crazy too, especially in the first 3 months, because I wanted to know everything that I felt I needed to know. So I don't think there should ever be a question that any of you have that you should ever hold back on asking, if you have a concern, if you have skepticism. All of those things are very normal. We start a business like this, and what was almost overwhelming to me, I mean, I went to college 4 years to learn how to teach kindergarten, so this was like they were asking me to do a full-scale business and learn it at the same time. And of course, if I look back on it, that was a very good way for it to happen, because it was almost like somebody throwing you in the pool and say, you better learn to swim. But if you really get assertive about what you need, now, what you need is really the answer to any questions, the resolve of any skepticism, because this is the thing, and I mentioned before, we have a new CEO that I'm very impressed with. And I asked her, the question I asked her was, what do you see? What is the vision you see if we're talking about doubling our business, and we're talking about 50 years, turning the next 4 years into what that 50 years produced? What does that look like? And the first thing she said is that, as unfortunate as this pandemic has been, it has created the largest opportunity that this company's ever had, because we fit the need. And if you look at any type of marketing, or taking a product to the population, or taking a service to the population, anything of that nature, if you can fill a need, and fill it well, and fill it with with the best interests of all, doing it, in the highest good, with the best intention, and with really great support as far as what is being offered, then you're going to access the market at the highest level. And so if we could just, everyone realize that we've never been more relevant. We are the product of the times right now. We're well proven. We've been in our business with Juice Plus so long. If we look at it, it's almost 30 years that we have huge research. We have everything behind us that we need. We have a marketing plan that pays more than any other company in this profession to the field. And we have a community that really supports each other, and a huge infrastructure in place. So if you were ever going to use your efforts in the best interest of your financial future, as well as your health, definitely. But if we're looking at it from a business standpoint, in the best interest of your financial future, you would put as much effort as possible into making sure that you were reaching out to everybody you came across. You would, be making lists of everybody you ever knew. You would be creating lists of people you meet. You would be, creating exposure, because it's not only going to facilitate your future, but it will of others, because we can't earn without other people earning. So it is a business right now that is going to flourish in every direction, and you want to be part of that. Because I've been here long enough to realize too that people either watch the parade, they join the parade, or they lead the parade. And if this is something you want to access at the highest level, you want to lead the parade. And you do that by making sure that you get your questions answered. You immerse yourself in everything that's available to give you information. And then you make sure that you feel confident about telling that story. And the only way you're going to get confident in telling the product story and the business story, and it needs to come from your heart, and it needs to be, something that creates enough interest that they're going to ask you questions. But you only become confident by doing it over and over and over. I often talk about, target practice. I would literally go to the mall when I first started this, and just try out my story on people that I didn't know, because I didn't know them. So, if they didn't like the idea, I guess I'd see what worked and what didn't. But from your heart, and we'll talk about story, in one of these trainings as well. That's very important to go over. But right now, your opportunity to access this profession at the highest level is the greatest it has ever been. And because of how it's all come together. So I really appreciate Beth and her team tonight for sharing with us, and all of you for your efforts. And again, if there's anything you feel like you need help with, you reach out to your upline, you reach out. I mean, this organization, you have a strong upline of people who are well seasoned here in our business, totally committed to it, love what we do. And you also have a company with your best interests at heart, which is, I think, amazing as well. And you just, whatever you feel like you need to move your business forward, whatever you have concerns about, get those things out of the way so that you access this at the highest level. So with that, I'm going to, since I closed there in the last statements for 5 minutes past the time, it's been a pleasure to be with all of you tonight, and I look forward to it next Thursday, and we'll get an agenda out to you as far as what the theme of the training will be. And then I'm going to encourage you, as you invite people to come and listen to the stories, that you invite them to also, you know, we create an exposure from a business standpoint with this segment as well. Okay, thank you, everyone. And you all have a good evening. And let's go tell them. If we don't tell them out there, somebody's going to tell them. I'll tell them. Okay, so let's go do it. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night. I think I have to stop this recording now. Let's see. Okay.